Good morning again, everyone, and welcome to the Fast Chat. I am Rochelle Butler, Energy Manager with the San Joaquin Valley Clean Energy Organization. Thank you so much for being with us, and I'm always super excited to be with you for the Fast Chat. We will get going momentarily, but first we've got to take care of our housekeeping. So please make note that your microphones have all been muted upon joining the call. This is simply to minimize background noise. If you have any questions at all, please go ahead and submit them using the chat box. You can do that at any point during the presentation. We'll always save time toward the end to address any of those questions and hopefully have a nice discussion. Next, I would like to remind everyone to go ahead and connect with us on any one of our many platforms. You can find us on Twitter, on Instagram, on Spotify, or you can just reach out the old-fashioned way via email or by phone. So we're always here for you. You can gain access to any of these resources by going to our website. That's sjvcleanenergy.org. Again, that is sjvcleanenergy.org. And with that, we are finally ready to get down to business. So I wanted to talk to you all about two upcoming grant opportunities this morning. And I also wanted to touch base very briefly on grants.gov as a resource. So the first grant opportunity that I want to talk about today is the Environmental Justice Small Grants Program. The second one is called REAP, which is short for the Renewable Energy Systems and Energy Efficiency Improvements Program. Now, I want to take a really quick second to acknowledge this is a slight departure from our original presentation plan, from what we communicated earlier in our email. We stated that we would talk about the Healthy Communities Grant Program. However, after I did a bit of additional digging on that grant opportunity, I learned that our partners would not actually qualify. So we swapped it out with another grant opportunity so that we would still have two grants for you this morning. Finally, toward the end of the presentation this morning, I will discuss the process by which you can stay up to date on upcoming grant opportunities. You can also, and also how you can ensure your organization has completed the registration process so that when these opportunities do arise, you're ready to take advantage of them. So all of that is available through grants.gov. Okay, so the Environmental Protection Agency is looking to award a total of $2.8 million in a competitive grant program. Out of that total pot, there will be a set aside of about $300,000 for ports initiatives projects. I don't believe any of our partners actually have ports, so that portion may not apply. However, of the remaining dollars, EPA plans to award 5 recipients up to $50,000 in each of the EPA regions. Out of those total awards, about half, depending on how the grant awards shake out, but about half will be set aside for small nonprofit organizations. So small and nonprofit is defined for the purposes of this grant opportunity as those that will have just 10 or fewer employees at the time of their application submission. The deadline for these applications is quickly approaching, though. It's May 7th, 2021, so I would encourage you to move quickly if you are interested. I also want to highlight some very important features about the Environmental Justice Small Grants programs that I feel like some of our partners would be particularly interested in. These features have to do with the primary goals of this program, and that being that it's actually geared towards supporting underserved communities. So this particular grant is structured to help eliminate many of the barriers to entry that are generally associated with the grant process, particularly at the federal level. So the idea here is to make it easier for smaller organizations to have a competitive chance. In fact, they list out 4 specific ways that they insist applicants, whether they are or are not awarded the grant, and I have them listed here on your screen. First, they seek to help familiarize applicants with the federal grant application requirements. They also share the expectations and responsibilities of managing federal grants. So the idea here is if the applicant understands these expectations, then they'll be better equipped to respond to the solicitations. Third, they provide constructive feedback and recommendations to strengthen future applications. And then finally, they help organizations build sustainability into their projects so that those projects continue on after the grant period is over. Now, if you are a more experienced agency or a larger agency, or you might even be an agency that has partnered with another organization, there's actually another branch, if you will, of this grant opportunity. It's very similar, but it's called the Environmental Justice Collaborative Problem Solving Program, or EJCPS for short. If you are interested in that, I will happily send you over the information for that grant program. But the EJCPS utilizes a slightly different process, and essentially it kind of takes the training wheels off of the application process, if you will. So I'll be sure that you have the links to that opportunity in the follow-up email after the call. Okay, so let's talk about what kinds of projects they're looking for. There's a very broad span of projects that would qualify to participate in this grant program. The primary guidelines that they ask you to follow are that the project must include activities designed to engage, educate, and empower communities to understand local environmental and public health issues and to identify and address those issues at the local level. That is incredibly broad. So they also provided a number, like a list of projects that have been funded in the past to kind of give you a frame of reference. And so as I reviewed this list, I was kind of thinking about some of the project types that our partners would be interested in, things like air quality and asthma, or water quality and sampling, stormwater and green infrastructure, emergency preparedness and disaster resiliency, or environmental job training. Again, the spectrum is very broad for the types of projects that would meet the requirements, but as long as you follow the guidelines, chances are your project would qualify. Okay, now we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit to the other grant opportunity that I wanted to talk about this morning. It's called REAP. So REAP is an acronym. It stands for Renewable Energy Systems and Energy Efficiency Improvements. The REAP actually has 2 types of funding assistance that are available, and I have them highlighted there in the orange and yellow bubbles you see on your screen. The Renewable Energy Systems and Energy Efficiency Improvements and Energy Efficient Equipment and Systems Assistance Program. Say that 3 times fast. It is an incredibly long title. That's the first one. And the other one is the Energy Audit and Renewable Energy Development Assistance Grant. So both of these kind of address the same issue, but they're aimed at different target audiences. So the first one focuses on agricultural producers and rural small businesses for renewable energy systems, including energy storage and energy efficiency improvements. The second opportunity focuses on providing funding for local governments and also institutions of higher education to establish programs to help bolster the agricultural economy and by assisting small businesses with evaluating energy efficiency and the potential to incorporate renewable energy technologies into their operations. Now, the deadline for these grant applications was formally March 31st. It has since been expanded to September 30th. 2021. So there's some additional time there for you if you're interested. The REAP applications are accepted year-round, but for guaranteed loans. However, for grant requests of up to $20,000, these guidelines do apply. Additionally, there was an offering for grant applications for more than $20,000. However, the deadline for that one just recently passed. It was actually March 31st, 2021. But I would highly encourage you to keep an eye out on this grant opportunity if it sounds like something you might be interested in, because I have a feeling there's a good chance it's going to be offered again next year. So kind of keep that one on your radar. Finally, as I'm kind of wrapping up these two topics, I did want to highlight some what I feel like is a very valuable resource for you, and that's grants.gov. So grants.gov serves as a centralized hub for funders to post opportunities for funding, and also for applicants to submit and also track their applications for those funding opportunities. So one of the first things you should do is register so that you'll receive emailed updates from grants.gov. And these emailed updates include new funding opportunities and also, changes within the grants.gov site. So they want to keep you abreast of things that are going on. How do you go about registering? On your screen here, I have like a bunch of red arrows there for you. This is the landing page that you get to when you go to grants.gov, and I have kind of pointed out here the registration link. Now, they do have a mobile application that they're promoting pretty heavily right now, but I do want to focus on the registration link here. When you click that link, you'll be taken to a screen where you'll be asked a few super simple questions like name, email address, and things like that. After you fill in that information, you will be asked to confirm your email address, which they do via a code that will be sent from the site. From that point, you can do one or both of the following. You may elect to be subscribed to receive updates on grant opportunities, so they'll email them directly to you as soon as they become available. You can also create your applicant profile, which you will need in order to apply for those grant opportunities. I personally would encourage you to do both of those things. Also, if you're anything like me and you forget much of what you just listened to as soon as you started on a new task, I know we're all going a million miles a minute these days, but there is a video detailing what I just explained right there on the registration page. It's only about 1 minute and 43 seconds long, and it's right there after you click registration and you go through the steps. The video is available to you. So don't worry if you don't remember everything I just said. Finally, I do want to talk about some of the resources that are available on grants.gov on their website. There's a lot of really helpful and informative information. They have a number of really short videos, like around 2 minutes long, that really help you navigate the site and navigate the process of applying for these grant opportunities. So they make it super easy for you. For example, they have information that will assist you with navigating what's called Workspace. Workspace is the platform that you access through grants.gov that they use to process and track grant applications. So that's one resource. They also have a ton of information on applicant eligibility, training, and registration, as we just spoke about a few moments ago. There's also information that will assist you with any technical or software issues or questions you might have during the process. So I'll be sure that you have access to all of the appropriate links in the follow-up email you'll receive a little bit later on this afternoon. And that wraps up the presentation I have for you this morning. I'm going to pause here for just a very quick second to give you all an opportunity to submit any questions or comments you might have in the chat box. if you have not done so already. Also, while you're working on submitting those questions, I would like to remind everyone again to please look out for our follow-up email later on today. That email will include a link to the recording of this presentation, as well as links to any related fast chats we may have spoken about during the presentation. Also, that email will include links to all of the resources I mentioned during our discussion this morning. So please take a quick second. Also, please take a quick second to add us to your email contacts list. We want to be sure that you're receiving our communications and they're not ending up in your junk box. So go ahead and add us to your contact list. That email is info@sjvcleanenergy.org. Again, that's info, info@sjvcleanenergy.org. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and check out our chat box and see if we have any questions. And I do see here one here from Pam Bold. Pam's question is this grant exclusive to LGs or open to other public agencies as well? So yes. Now the REAP grant I was mentioning earlier is open. Well, they're both open to local governments and nonprofit organizations. I just want to say that off the top to answer your question. The REAP program, I did talk about there having kind of two branches to that program. One of them is actually focused exclusively on small businesses and agricultural businesses, but the second leg of that grant is for local governments and nonprofit organizations. So that's kind of the caveat with the REAP grant. Okay, do we have, I don't see any more questions popping up in there, so I'm trying to talk slowly in case anyone's like madly typing there, but I'll go ahead and close us out this morning. I encourage everyone listening, please share the fast chat with your friends and your colleagues. You never know who might benefit from this information or even how this information might inspire ideas or opportunities for new projects. Our next fast chat is already on the calendar for May 11th at 10 a.m. and we will announce that topic very soon. As always, thank you all for being with us this morning. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I hope everyone stays safe and stays healthy. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.